once a cheater, always a cheater, Steve? He sounds like you don't.
No.
Okay.
Because men grow up and men change. Yeah. Men do grow up and men change. What happens is you can make mistakes and grow from it and learn from it. Every time a man cheats doesn't mean you have to give him another chance either. All men can change, but there is only one woman we will change for.
Do you believe if...
All right. Shalom. First off, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And salutations to the hopeful elect that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And to all my brothers out here preaching this truth, to you I say Shalom. This is Amatazar from the Chicago camp, coming back at you again with another lesson entitled, Women Will Hate This Lesson. Yes, that's the title of this lesson. It's called Women Will Hate This Lesson. And the reason why the women will hate this lesson is because in this kingdom, all right, the women are at enmity with the Lord, okay? The women, not just the women, but the women in particular, are in rebellion. All right, and what they've done is they've drunken the wine of Babylon. Babylon meaning confusion. So you have a group of women sitting on the stage, all right, which is a platform, okay? And you have Steve, right? Steve Harvey. Who is Steve? These women are asking a question about morality and fidelity. Morality and fidelity have everything to do with the Lord's word. Okay? Now, if you want to ask Steve about carnal things, all right, that's fine. If you want to ask him about a car, right? You can ask Steve, but it would be better to ask a mechanic if you're going to ask about a car. If you're going to ask if you want to ask Steve about your body and the systems in your body, all right, and the different organs in your body, you can ask Steve, but it would be better if you had asked a doctor, okay? Because Steve is not a knowledgeable person or expert on those things. He's not a doctor. He's not a mechanic. Now, you're going to ask Steve about fidelity and marriage and relationship issues, okay? And we're talking about between a man and a woman, all right? Steve is not the subject matter expert on that either. Okay, you can't ask Steve about the things of the Lord. First of all, what is cheating, right? The woman said, will a man always cheat? Well, first of all, Esau Edom has redefined everything in our world. His tongue frameth deceit. Esau tells you what the definition of adultery is. Esau tells you what cheating is. Esau tells you what a boyfriend is. There's no such thing as a boyfriend or girlfriend. There's no such thing as cheating. Now, if you're speaking of adultery, adultery is when a man has sex with a married woman, okay? A woman that has a man. And a woman that has a man, all right, she's going and having sex with another man. That's what adultery is, okay? Men had multiple wives, all right? So as long as a woman didn't have a man, the wife, all right, would be, or the woman rather, would be fair game. As long as she didn't have a man, she was fair game. So we're going to talk about that. But this whole system, all right, is flawed and crazy. All right, so now the Lord's word was for Israel, all right, the nation of Israel. And according to Jeremiah 17:4, right, we have lost our heritage. Let's go look at that right quick. We were discontinued from our heritage. 17:4. All right. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. All right, so we're over here in America serving out the last of our sentence. Okay, it's our punishment, okay, for being disobedient and not following the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh. Now, let's talk about the craziness in this society. In this society, all right, you letting the man define to you what cheating is and everything else. But in this society, you can have a 16-year-old girl, right? She can lay down with a 16-year-old boy, and they can produce an offspring or a child. There won't be any legal repercussions to that boy, right? Now, the welfare system, right? They're going to end up going on welfare because this 16-year-old girl and the 16-year-old boy probably can't provide for a child. So that child, in most cases, is most likely gonna be a welfare recipient. The mother's gonna have to go on welfare to help raise or take care of this child, right? And that's part of the curses because we're not in our kingdom. Now, that same 16-year-old girl can lay down with a 40-year-old man and they will lock his ass up. That 16 will get him 20. They'll call him a pedophile and say it's called statutory rape. That's what they would say. And it would not be at all. It can be completely consensual. And he can have every intention of caring for his offspring. But they will lock him up and throw him in jail. Meanwhile, they'll take a 12-year-old girl who believes in her mind that she's a boy and will allow her to transition without parental consent. The school will start giving her the different medicines and procedures without parental consent to let her make up her mind to change from being a girl to a boy. Now, if that's not wickedness and crazy, I don't know what is. But there are some things that you have to understand, right? Number one, Steve Harvey is no one to be asking about anything when it comes to the Lord. All right, you're supposed to be talking to a man of understanding. Secondly, you got to understand, all right, that we're under the curses. All right, and so the ideas and the wine of Babylon have permeated our women and defiled our women to the point where, the woman has compassed a man. Now, a man is not created for a woman. A woman is created for a man, and we're going to go into that. Now, when it concerns a man having multiple wives or multiple women, all right, you talk to a woman today that's been raised in this society, you can show her scriptural proof that a woman, all right, that a man had multiple wives in the Bible. She will tell you that was in the past. So she wants to ignore the past and she wants to redefine the present. But Malachi 3 and 6, it says, I am the Lord, I change not. The Lord doesn't change. And his idea or design for a woman being a man's helpmeet hasn't changed either. Okay? So if a woman says that was in the past, right, and she wants to redefine the present, the question is, how many wives can I have in the future? Now, if you ask a woman, how many wives can I have in the future, she will not have an answer for you. And guess what? She don't want to know the answer. I had a woman tell me that if a man having multiple wives is part of the kingdom of heaven, she don't want to be there. She don't want to go. That right there, that attitude is going to get you destroyed. Okay? Because the Lord, there's nothing wrong with the Lord's design or creation. So we're going to talk a little bit about the nature of women as well. What the Lord says the nature of women is. Okay? And of course, we're going to talk about a woman being a possession. All right? Because a woman is a possession. We're going to go over examples of multiple wives. All right? And then we're going to go over some spiritual examples. And spiritual examples about multiple wives. And then we'll close after that. All right? So, if you got some, get your spiritual popcorn ready. All right, so we can jump in. All right. So, as I said earlier, Esau redefines everything. Let's go to Jeremiah 51 and 7. Jeremiah 51 and 7. And it reads, Babylon have been a golden cupman in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, and therefore the nations are mad. Okay? Now they are mad. They're mad with confusion. They, you look at them and you're like, what are they doing? All right? I mean, they are really led away. All right? Isaiah 30. And it reads, Woe to the rebellious children, said Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. They walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. All right? This is spiritual Egypt. You asking Steve instead of the Lord. All right? And you watch these women of the nations ask Steve, and then you want to ask Steve. All right? Like monkey see, monkey do. You want to do what they do. You think that they're better than you. Okay? And when you see the women of the nations asking Steve, you fall right in line. All right? But that's the shadow of Egypt. All right? Steve is a puppet. All right, Steve made an agreement with the heathen. That platform, that's part of his contract. He signed an agreement or a covenant with the heathen in order to spew Babylon or Babylonian concepts and philosophies in exchange for money. You got to understand that. But we're going to get to that. Let's go to Sirach 11 and 15. This is I don't want to say long lesson, but this lesson is for one of my elder brothers. I need to make it at least a half an hour. All right, Sirach 11 and 15. It says, Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the law are of the Lord. Let me read that again. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the law are of the Lord. Love and the way of good works are from him. Error and darkness had their beginning together with sinners, and evil shall wax old with them that glory therein. Okay? So all those women on that panel, all right, those are sinners. All right? And they glory in sin. All right? They don't know anything about the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord. But we're talking about the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord right now. All right? Everything that we're talking about in this lesson, all right, has everything to do with the Lord. All right, and you don't consult with Steve. You don't ask Steve. Steve don't have no answer. Let's go to Sirach 8 and 17. Consult not with a fool, for he cannot keep counsel. Proverbs 14 and 7. And it reads, Go from the presence of a foolish man when thou perceivest not in him the lips of knowledge. Okay? Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is going to come from the Lord. Now, Steve is one of these guys right here. 1 Maccabees 1:11. And it reads, In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward therein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. Steve is doing mischief. Okay, whether he realizes it or not. Okay, but he's, he's got that spiritual darkness. The light is turned out on his understanding. All right, and so he's playing his part in the big picture. All right, let's go to 1 Corinthians. Mm, 1:19. For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise and bring to nothing the wisdom of the prudent. Where is the wise? Where is the scribe? Where is the disputer of this world? Have not the Most High made foolish the wisdom of this world? So the wisdom of this world is foolishness to Yahweh. All right, so there are no boyfriends. Okay, there's no such thing as cheating. It's adultery, and that's punishable by death. Sirach 33:3. A man of understanding trusteth in the law, and the law is faithful unto him as an oracle. Now it says the man of understanding trusteth in the law. Okay, Steve doesn't trust in the law. All right, he don't trust in the law. Let's go to Romans 8:6. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace, because the carnal mind is enmity against the Most High, for it is not subject to the law of the Most High, neither indeed can be. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please the Most High. Okay, so if you're not in this truth, all right, and understand the importance of the law, statutes, and commandments, you're never going to open up your eyes to the fact of your role. Okay, what a woman's role is, and what a man's role is. All right, and what a man can have as far as his liberty. Okay, because we're going to get into that. Now, right now we're under the curses. And one of the curses, or part of the curses, is that a woman shall compass a man, meaning circumvent a man, shall go around a man. A man is, she's gonna envelope, right, or enclose a man as well. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For Yahweh hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. So when you see Kamala Harris, and when you see all these women leading men, okay, women don't do judgment fairly, okay, in most cases. That's a curse. So you have women today thinking that men are their utility. All right, and women were made, or men were made for women to take care of them, blah blah blah. But the reality is opposite. Okay, women were made for men. The man wasn't made for the woman. The man. Okay, was the woman was given to the man as a helpmeet. 1 Corinthians 8. It says, for the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. That's important to know. Okay? Now these roles that Esau, all right, has talked you out of wanting to be in. The women don't want to be in a role like that no more. All right, and they think the Lord changed, but the Lord ain't never changed. Malachi 3:6, for I am Yahweh, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. Okay, the Lord doesn't change. When he establishes something, he's going to have it, make sure it goes through. That's Isaiah 55. Okay, so the Lord doesn't change. You want him to change because you don't want to be in that role or position that he created you to be in. And because of that, you stubborn. All right. Genesis 2:18, and Yahweh said, it is not good that a man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him. Now let's talk about the nature of the woman. Because Solomon, let me see. Solomon had 1,000 women, 700 wives, and 300 concubines. All right. Now, the Lord gave Solomon all the knowledge. He had knowledge of those things that are seen and the unseen. And he also had the knowledge of the behavior and the reasonings of men and the behavior of animals and things. This is Wisdom of Solomon 7:17. For he hath given me certain knowledge of the things that are, namely, to know how the world was made and the operation of the elements, the beginning, ending, and midst of times, the alterations of the turning of the sun and the change of seasons, the circuits of years and the positions of stars, the natures of living creatures. Let's go back, verse 20. The natures of living creatures. So that means that Solomon understood what make you tick, in other words. Okay? So the nature of living creatures and the furies of wild beasts, the violence of winds and the reasonings of men. Solomon understood how you reasoned and how you thought. He understood how men reasoned and how women reasoned and how they thought. The diversities of plants and the virtues of roots and all such things that are either secret or manifest, them I know. Okay? Now, Solomon says he knows. He got that from the wisdom from the Lord. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Also in the book, 7th book, and 25. Start at 25. And it reads, I applied my heart to know and to search and to seek out wisdom and the reasoning of things, and to know the wickedness of folly, even of foolishness and madness. And I find more bitter than death, the woman. Shit. Let me read that again. And I find more bitter than death, the woman. You see, you had a whole host of women, all right, on the midst of the platform talking to Steve, asking about cheating. Well, all men cheat, Steve. But what does Solomon say? Okay, Solomon, who actually was Yahushua, right? What does he say? I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth God shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. Behold, this have I found, saith the preacher, counting one by one to find out the account, which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found. So he's talking about righteousness. Okay? One man in 1,000 he found righteous. All right? But a woman, he says he found, but a woman among all those have I not found. Lo, this only have I found, that the Most High have made men upright, but they have sought out many inventions. So this is Solomon knowing the reasoning of men and of women. All right. And he says what? He can't find no righteous women. Let's go to Sirach 25 and 19. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. As the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the aged, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man. So can you imagine an old man trying to climb up a sandy way? What is he gonna do? He ain't gonna go nowhere. He's steady stumbling. It says, As the climbing of a sandy way is to the feet of the aged, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man. 21. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for pleasure. A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. All right, we see it in society. A man could take care of a woman for 20 years, all right? Well, she won't have to worry about nothing. And if she have her own job, she have her own money, right? She might have her own money put to the side. But if that man lose his job, it says a woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. That man will be lucky, all right, if he can get 2 months out of her. Okay? If the table was turned and she had to take care of him, he'd be lucky if he got 2 months out of her. All right? 23. A wicked woman abated the courage and maketh the heavy countenance and a wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. I've seen this happen. All right. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. What's that talking about? It's talking about Eve. Remember, Eve was led away. All right. She, instead of being under the coverage of her husband, okay, she wanted to be equal to her husband, and she's talking to Satan, the serpent. Okay, she's talking to the serpent. Holding conversation with another man. And what is he doing? Feeding her, concepts and ideologies, all right, that she had no business partaking in. And what did she do? She fed it to Adam. So of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. 25. Give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty or freedom to gad abroad. If she go not as thou wouldst have her, cut her off from thy flesh, and give her a bill of divorce, and let her go. Let's go to Sirach 42. and 9. So today, we're going to read this, and you tell me, does this make any sense today? Okay? Because in this kingdom, this ain't going to make no sense at all. You just recently had T.I. being scolded, all right, because he was trying to make sure his daughter had her hymen. So every year, he'd take her for her physical to make sure her hymen was in place. All right? And they said that he was doing something wrong as her father. Now let's read this. Now, this is every father, or every Israelite father. Verse 9, it says, the father waketh for the daughter, when no man knoweth, and the care for her taketh away sleep. When she is young, lest she pass away the flower of her age, and being married, lest she should be hated. So the father's job is to make sure that he presents his daughter as a virgin to her husband. It says, in her virginity, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in her father's house, and having a husband, lest she should misbehave herself, and when she is married, lest she should be barren. Keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter, lest she make thee a laughingstock to thine enemies, and a byword in the city, and a reproach among the people, and make thee ashamed before the multitude. Listen, I know women that have 3 and 4 children by 3 and 4 men. Okay? All the kids sitting at the table got different daddies. All right, you just had a woman on YouTube just recently made a fool out of herself when the father of one of her children came over with some McDonald's and tried to feed his child, and she didn't want the food because she said, I got 3 other kids in here that need to eat too. He said, those are not my kids. You see, this is all shame. Now, how did she get those 3 kids? Because she didn't have a father making sure that she was given to a man of understanding, just like this word says. 12, behold not everybody's beauty, and sit not in the midst of women. All right, those women on the stage, okay, that was the midst of women. And in the midst of women is wickedness, right? Behold not everybody's beauty, and sit not in the midst of women. For from garments cometh the moth, and from women wickedness. Better is the churlishness or rudeness of a man than a courteous woman. A woman, I say, which bringeth shame and reproach. So the purpose of these scriptures is to talk about the nature of the woman and why the Lord put these checks on her. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 36:24. Now, whether a woman wants to admit it or believe it or not, okay, the Lord says that the woman is a possession. Sirach 36:24. He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession, a helpmeet or help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest. Okay, so your wife is your possession. Your wife belongs to you. All right. She is a pillar of rest. When you go to work and you come home, you're supposed to come home to your woman, and your woman is supposed to be your rest. She ain't supposed to be driving you crazy. She ain't supposed to be driving you so you can climb on the roof and get away from her. No, she's supposed to be your pillar of rest. All right, she is a helpmeet. Let's go to Genesis 2:18. And Yahweh Power said, it is not good that a man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him. You see? All right. So now, here's another thing to understand. Another thing to understand. So in this kingdom, you got women who believe that they're equal to men, right? Women were never equal to men. You go to Numbers, the 3rd chapter, all right, and the Lord told Moses that a woman that's in her father's house, she can't make no vows or no promises or anything that her father doesn't allow. And after she leaves her father's house and she becomes married, guess what? She still can't make no promises, no vows, and get into any agreements that her husband doesn't allow. The only time a woman could make any promises, vows, or agreements, right, is when she was divorced or widowed. So what is that telling you? That's telling you that the woman was always supposed to have her husband or head over her, all right, and he was the one who was going to allow or disallow any vows that she made. All right, now you tell a woman that today in this kingdom, all right, she will lose her mind. She'll be like, right? But again, the things of this earth, carnality, these are spiritual things. And the person that's in carnality or in the flesh, they're not going to understand the things of the spirit. There's no wrong in the Lord and how he designed things. Let's read Numbers 30:1. And Moses spake unto the heads of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying, this is the thing which Yahweh hath commanded. If a man vow a vow unto Yahweh, or swear an oath to bind his soul with the bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth. All right, so a man makes a vow to the Lord, hey, you keep it, period. If a woman also vow a vow unto Yahweh, and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house in her youth, and her father hear her vow, and her bond wherewith she have bound her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she have bound her soul shall stand. But if her father disallow her in the day that he heareth not any of her vows, or of her bonds wherewith she have bound her soul shall stand, and Yahweh shall forgive her, because her father disallowed her. And if she had at all a husband, when she vowed or uttered out of her lips wherewith she bound her soul, and her husband hear it, and held his peace at her in the day that he heard it, then her vows shall stand, and her bonds wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. But if her husband disallow her on the day that he heard it, then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and that which she uttered with her lips, wherewith which she bound her soul, of none effect, and Yahweh shall forgive her. But every vow of a widow and of her that is divorced, wherewith she have bound her soul, shall stand against her. And if she vowed in her husband's house, or bound her soul by a bond with an oath, and her husband heard it, and he held his peace at her, and disallowed her not, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. So if the husband heard it, and he had no disagreement with it, that's the only way it was going to stand. Verse 12, but if her husband have utterly made them void at the day he heard them, then whatsoever proceeded out of her lips concerning her vows, or concerning the bond of her soul, shall not stand. Her husband have made void, and Yahweh shall forgive her. Every vow and every binding oath to afflict the soul, her husband may establish it, or her husband may make it void. But if her husband altogether hold his peace at her from day to day, then he established all her vows, or all her bonds, which are upon her. He confirmed them, because he held his peace at her in the day that he heard them. But if he shall in any ways make them void after that he hath heard them, then she shall bear her iniquity. These are the statutes which Yahweh commanded Moses between a man and his wife, between the father and his daughter, being yet in her youth in her father's house. Now, that's going to be the end of part 1 of Women Will Hate This Lesson. All right, we're going to pick it back up on the next one. All right, Lord willing. So this is going to be part 1. I'm already close to 40 minutes. All right, and when we come back, we're going to talk about examples of multiple wives. We're going to talk about examples of the kingdom, in the kingdom, when it comes to multiple wives. All right. All right, so with that, I hope and pray that this lesson was edifying. Until the next one, shalom.